by the name of Ken Ethan, who is the coordinator of the FAA Aviation Career Education Program at Muskegon. And so at the high school, we have signed up 15 students to participate in the aviation program, the flight program. And in that program, these are some of the things that they will receive. They will receive basic aviation education and get a hands-on experience in the principles of flight. They will be introduced to flight history. They will explore aviation infrastructure on the Muskegon County Airport, including the air traffic control tower. They're going to learn the qualities of leadership. They will meet professionals from all across the aviation community, including the Michigan Air National Guard, at separate ANGP, airport executives, engineers, mechanics, and pilots from several major airlines. They're going to learn about unmanned and aerial system, remote control vehicles. They're going to take an orientation flight around Muskegon with the Eagles program. And so our goal is to have this program every year from here forward. It's an excellent program. I've seen that program work before in other school districts, and kids would really enjoy it. The school district, I just want to give you an update on the enrollment. Our enrollment has been slowly increasing every day, and I'm proud to say that we have met the goal that we based our budget on, which was 500 students. Today we had a count of 513. I can give you the breakdown of each building. It was a wise decision that we made in budgeting at 500 students. So I hereby report tonight that we're presenting a balanced budget to the board tonight. Edgewood has 164 students, MLK 133, middle school 76 students, and the high school has 140 students. So overall, that's 513 students. Each, yes, middle school is 76. 140. Mm-hmm. And I'm proud to say that each building is fully staffed at this time. Students are fully engaged. Principals are doing a great job. And the high school certified staff, I just want to give an update on the certification of our staff. At this time, the teachers, the high school has 55% certified staff. MLK has 14% certified staff. Edgewood has 43. Update on the water situation from the summer over at, particularly at Edgewood. You know, there was a water crisis there, and there was lead that was found in some of the piping, some of the faucets over there. And I just want to give you an update. All those have been changed out. All the filters in the drinking fountains have been changed. And I think they have, yeah, in fact, they have been changed throughout all the buildings. And because of the lead that was found in some of those pipes and faucets. Stuart, I can't think of his last name. Stuart Jones is the one that called me and gave me an update on the changes that had taken place. We have entered in partnership with the Department of Treasury, Michigan Department of Treasury, from the Office of School Review and Fiscal Accountability. It is required by law that all schools at the end of the year maintain a 5% fund balance. And so we have begun to hold bi-weekly meetings with this office because we have been identified as having a fiscal stress budget at this time. So they are monitoring us, making sure that we began and end the year on a good note. I just want to bring the board up to date on that. In fact, our next meeting is, I think it's next week. We have our next meeting next week, so we've been meeting every 2 weeks at this time. We just had our first meeting last week. In those meetings, we have Superintendent, Ms. Crockett, ISD, Mark Graham, the guy that's doing the budget for us he's through ISD as well. He's called the Grant Guru. And Randy Lindquist is involved in that. And I think sometimes Deanna Bird, Deanna Bird is, not Bird, Deanna Holman is involved as well. And so we've been, and then of course, Sam, I think Sam Ivan is the one from the State Department, along with one lady named Peggy, I believe her name is. I've contacted the Muskegon Heights alumni about their annual homecoming tailgate. Someone came by and they wanted to make sure they, have the tailgate set up for homecoming, which is going to be on September 29th. And so we will make sure that take place. I want to thank RJC Services for their work in keeping the grounds up to date, especially underneath the bleachers at the football field. It was pretty bad, so I talked to them about that, and they did take care of that to make things better. Also, I will be attending the state superintendent conference, which actually starts tomorrow. I'm going to go tomorrow afternoon and probably spend one day there, which is Thursday, and come back on Thursday night. So it's going to be in Traverse City. There's a repair being implemented at this time. If it was not finished today over at Edgewood on the boiler system, did it get finished today? Okay, so we want to be proactive because we're getting into the fall season. We are in the fall season, and temperatures have begun to be kind of cool in the morning, and so we want to make sure we have that boiler up and ready to go, because we don't want to have to cancel school because it's cold in the building. The central office staff, I want to thank central office staff, especially to Ms. Crockett. We have released a powerful marketing plan for our district that will be attractive to students coming back to our district. And so we will talk later about some of the goals and our promise and our vision and our mission in this process. The superintendent wants to personally thank each board member from the BOD and the BOE for your attendance on this past Saturday for the board retreat. I was excited about it, and I think we really got a chance to learn a little bit about each other as well. I want to thank the ISD for hosting this meeting, and also I just want to point out that Deanna did a phenomenal job in all the training activities, and because this was one of the beginning of our meetings that is required by the partnership agreement that was signed by each entity. Wow. We will establish a focus group and town hall meetings with citizens who may have concerns. We are putting together a schedule where we will go around and speak with the citizens in this community. We will listen to them and then address those concerns to the best of our ability. And that's the end of my report, unless someone has some questions. It's not in there.
Y'all just steal everything we said do, huh?
Yeah, they do.
I got you. So I give it.
They would get off so they can say, man, they petty. That's petty.
Are there any questions on the superintendent report?
Just one question. Mike, I apologize, my mic is not working. When will we have the public town hall scheduled? How many town halls are you anticipating hosting?
We're going to try to do one every month, and we in the process of scheduling now, and we have not set that date yet, but we are going to be doing it.
So take our paperwork and then try to use it for yourselves. Y'all some snakes.
Get it out by way of, we do have radio spots set up. We're going to do robocalling. We're going to send letters home by students to the parents. We'll let them know. That's about 3 ways we're going to communicate. Make sure you're back there.
It's the Democratic Party.
It's crazy.
Any other questions? How many town halls were you gonna have
We'll have at least one a month.
throughout the school year?
Yes.
And we move on to our discussion items. First, is the 23-24 budget update and
You should have that in your packet, the budget. What we did was, when you look at our budget, one of the things that, we, okay, good.
this one right here.
Oh, now Randy get to get up and speak?
Yeah, Graham is going to give you that, give you the complete update on that.
Randy get up last week and I tried to
I
talk to
think
you.
he's on the,
On the Zoom.
yeah, you also have this right here.
Oh, no.
Mr. Graham?
Promise.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. In front of you, you should have a copy of our amended 23-24 budget. And I'm just going to do a walkthrough. I was told that the screen is getting a lot of sun, so you won't be able to see it. So I'm just going to talk through it. So the first section we're going to look at is revenue amounts. If you look at the revenue amount, some of the changes mostly are is in state and federal funding.
They know a song right there.
With the state funding, there is an increase funding from the state with the people allocation and also an at-risk increase. That's offsetting our losses in students compared to the prior year. So we're actually pretty close to what we had in the prior year. Should have be pretty close to the prior year funding, even though we lost students because of the increase. The increase was $468 per student. So you'll see that that's why the amount actually went up slightly. On the federal level, that is including more ESSER dollars that weren't allocated before. There's a larger amount of ESSER that wasn't allocated prior year, which was about 1.1 billion. We also did an amendment on ESSER for projects and other activities. Our next section is expenditures. Our expenditure lines are a little different because we have global psychological and added needs out at the moment for special ed. Once that's approved, we can break up the budget a little bit more, just determining on what our social workers, speech paths, and psychologists are. So that'll bring some more of the line into the support services, but we have to see what the agreement is, and that's not in place at the moment. So this is our best estimate where our added needs is going to be. And if you keep going down, a lot of this stuff is similar to the prior budget. They are decreases because of making sure we're in alignment. If you go down a little bit further into the community service part, you notice there's a large jump there. It's almost 150,000. That is because of ESSER dollars that were allocated but not utilized last year, and we're planning on fully utilizing them this year. Same way with capital outlay. In the prior budget, there was no capital outlay budgeted, but in the ESSER dollars, there's $250,000 allocated to MLK's auditorium and other enhancements, ventilation enhancements at the schools. So that's where you're seeing some of this increase. That's why you're seeing an increase in total expenditures. It's mostly because a lot of it is ESSER dollars coming into play that weren't utilized in the prior years. On the next level, you'll see the net revenue being zero compared to the net revenue expenditure in the original budget. Under review, it looks like they didn't budget for a provider amount in the prior budget. So the providers can take up to a certain percentile of the student allocation given to the district, and that looks like it was excluded because that's where we have $100,000 from benefits. This will change some during the audit, because we do have grants that we realize that weren't fully utilized, that could have been. And this fund balance should increase based on the audit, what we're seeing at the moment. But $100,000 is a safe bet at this early moment. But our total budget is balanced, so it shouldn't be going down any further. Any questions?
So you said that there's a possibility that there are additional funds that we will have available.
Yeah, that will increase the fund balance. We're going through all the grants that weren't utilized this year, or in FY '23, and trying to find the expenditures that were tied to it. And so far, right now, it looks like we have about $400,000 with the grant expenditures that will charge to the general fund that should have been charged to the grant. So that will help offset some costs that we currently have. So that will help raise the fund balance.
So will we see what, those expenditures will look like, or what they will be? We have an idea of how they will be utilized.
So these expenditures are basically, we're matching the narratives to the expenses that are in the grants. Example is we had in ESSER 3, there was pool set that can be charged to the grant that was allowable costs. So we're able to shift some of the pool costs from the general fund to ESSER 3. And another example is we were able to entitle an LSSD, I always skip the reading grant acronym. We had a reading coach that was allowable cost in the general fund that can be charged to the grant. So by moving that cost to the grant, we were able to do a net expense revenue to zero. So that would increase revenue, increase expense, but net to zero, but we take it off the general fund costs. If that makes sense.
Anyone else have any questions?
So where in the budget will the ESP come from?
ESB is broken out, so if you look at ESB, they're broken out. You have the business office at 225. You have central office HR, so that gets you to about 500K, and you have general administration, which is probably, some of it is Mr. Holmes' salary, the rest of it is for the provider. So we have about 700,000. We're broken out by function objects, by category.
RFP for new service provider.
Y'all doing another one?
You have those in your packet. You have two packets there, one involved the RFP.
Dragging the process.
I think there were 3 companies that submitted. And you had, Global Psychological, Well One Strategy Group, and Yes Inc. And, so I just want to give you, if you don't mind, give you my opinion on them. I have talking points here about each one of them. And strategy group, step one strategy, when I looked at this package, it talks about lots of statements like, I will assist the district, will help the district, etc. So how much of that they provide is direct services versus how much what they provide is support of to district staff to do things. And then another thing that caught my attention, do they provide a business manager, complete business office services? Some of these questions, I guess, can be answered once we bring those individuals in and they make their presentation. to the board? Or do they provide support for business manager locally? Same question for HR.
Yep.
This
Man,
they use IRED for their benchmark assessment. So, you know, these are the things that we have to talk about when, we get them here. And then Yes Inc., they offer a lot of training and support for staff, you know, versus others. This seems to be their expertise, okay? It looks like they would provide direct business services based on their response to the additional questions on page 13 and 14 of your package. They did say that they would have on-site presence in the district, which is on page 16 and 17, which is good. So these staff would work with you and other admins. I'm not sure if they would fully manage special education. They didn't do a lot about that, say a lot about that. The response talked a lot about managing IEPs, but I didn't see much about staffing and other things that needed in
I
special.
can't wait to speak.
Yes.
Yeah, talking about yes.
I think in their original, the original package that they sent, they talked a lot about their work with special education.
All the questions you had. Yeah, because your boy, he keep doing this what he's saying. They keep doing stuff illegal. Ain't nobody calling him out. Nobody says, you know, that's your own. He done flipped.
And global, psychological solutions, they provided information on the company and what they do, but did not respond to the additional questions that we published, for business to answer. It does not look like they hired staff. The proposal includes position for coaches, interventionists, specialists, coordinators, and directors. And I think they do some business, people accounting and HR service. But I didn't see this in their proposal. Okay, of course, you know, we are using them now for special education at this time. And so, it'll be quite interesting once we get them here. And, you know, I don't know whether you want to bring all three in, you know, pick a couple, I don't know, be up to the board, but, these are some questions that we need answers to, I think. You already have some developed other questions.
Anybody have any discussion points regarding the three, RFP proposal?
GPS, they didn't submit. They didn't submit the responses.
Global psychological. Yeah, they did.
They did the original.
They didn't submit to the.
Man, we already know
They didn't
this.
submit to
No,
our.
not all.
You want a halfway re-information?
With the additional that was in the package under the additional response.
Right.
I mean, yes, it's saying that they will have people here on site, but they're out of Austin, Texas. I guess how, maybe that's a question for when we. But I don't, that's my concern there, they're not even close.
A whole bunch of
Yeah,
stupid
that's not
answers.
even
That's
close.
why nobody holding them accountable for breaking these laws. And
Like you said, global psychological did not provide a lot of information of the services that they provide.
It's some
So I
crazy.
guess I would like to maybe have all of them here to interview, or to use presentations. So that we can kind of ask additional questions that we might have from them, because
break the law. Train.
I guess I want to know what their benefit packages are for staff, what they, their HR services, all that. I would like additional information. I don't know if anybody else thoughts are about that. I agree. I'm sorry.
Man, they so petty. They is petty.
So I guess, when we get to our action items, we can decide, we can vote as to who we want to invite, or do we want to invite,
What she doing?
I guess everybody in agreement with the inviting all of these service providers to give a presentation. Yeah. D is transition report, excuse me. I'm sorry, I missed board policy.
I'll give you an update on that. We did talk with the, Charter Institute. It is time for the board to update the policy. And, at this time, so I think the last time it was done, 2022.
Now they updating board policies.
Everything dated, baby. Keep breaking the law.
Transition report invoices.
Keep breaking the law.
Transition for invoices. We've had, quite a few invoices come in, sending them out to, payment, to, ask the, business department.
Crazy.
Are we up to date? Or we're close to up to date?
I would say we are pretty close to up to date, and they've been taken care of. But, we've been getting some surprises, not being some that should be paid last year.
Will we have any, on the ones that should have been paid? Do we have any subrogation rights?
We have,
Any what?
Subrogation rights, we can pursue the party that should have paid last year.
I'll let the attorney speak to that.
Depending on whether they can go back against the party who should have paid it last year, if they're receiving this. And the answer is probably, but with a caveat. If it was something where there was purely they were purely a pass-through, and let's say we did not, they never billed us, so we didn't pay them, then we didn't necessarily suffer a damage by them not paying it at the time, unless there is some sort of penalty or something like that for late payment.
He paid me, so why did you?
If there is, they should be responsible for late payment.
Why you
If,
go get?
though, it falls within the realm of items that you either paid for, or that they should have addressed but didn't, for example, the special ed, then yes, we do have remedies, we have the ability to go back and pursue that.
Any other questions?
You should have sued them last year then,
I'm sorry.
if you knew all that.
I just want to say that, some of the invoices that, we, have sent, they have been paid, but I've been, talking to some of the vendors, within the community, trying to keep that relationship up. Let them know that we we did get an invoice from Stuart Burger, and we, do for paying as well.
Speaking to the mic.
Can't hear it.
We speaking to the mic.
I said that we, are paying the invoices as we get them. And so, I've been trying to develop some relationship with these vendors, let them know that we are gonna take care of the invoices. It ain't like we're running away from them, but, and sometimes when, things not done properly up front, it leave a bad taste in people's mouths. And so I just want them to know that we are trying to fix it. And you fix it by paying.
It ain't been done up front.
Stuart Burger, yes. That was, Stuart Burger was I think it was, right before I came on the board, it was, I think it was a law group, lawyer or something.
Oh, y'all paying that?
That payment should not be paid.
See?
The board voted to not pay it because they did not have a contract for it. That involved non-legal transitionary and training services for the previous superintendent. The Board of Education.
You weren't supposed to do it.
Against
Don't listen.
because under Michigan law,
Wow.
there is no.
He told you don't do it.
Responsibility to pay that bill because they did not get the agreement approved by the Board of Education prior to doing the alleged work. So,
That's why you should come to meetings before you be on the board.
How you just put
I
that?
did
You don't know that.
inform them, I will inform them again before.
How many other people you paying you weren't supposed to pay? That's the key.
If you can forward it to me, I will inform them again. I informed them once, and I will do it again.
So we move on to our action items. First on the agenda is to approve the amended 23-24 budget as presented in the discussion items. So brief, the 23-24 budget has been amended to more accurately reflect the expense and revenues for the 23-24 school year, including grant funding from multiple sources. I will entertain a motion at this time to approve the amended budget as presented.
I make a motion to approve the amended budget as presented.
Second. I'll second, roll call.
Commissioner Slater?
Yes.
Ross? Yes. Lewis?
Abstain.
Bradford? Yes.
The next action item is to approve the payment of invoices to the MAISD for services provided between July 23 and August 31, July 1st of 23 and August 31st of 23, in the amount of $140,674.61 for the terms of in the temporary service provider agreement. So this is the payment as our temporary PSP. These invoices represent services provided from July 2023, July 1, 2023 to August 31, 2023. These invoices reflect the cost of staffing through EduStaff and MAISD staff providing services to the district. The service provider agreement calls for a 5% service fee for MAISD time. This was reduced for the first billing with the July start. Subsequent invoices will include the full 5% service fee in the future. I will entertain a motion to approve that payment at this time.
So moved.
Second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Slater?
Yes.
Ross? Yes. Lewis?
Yes.
Bradford? Yes.
Next on the agenda is the approval of the contract for RJC Services LLC for grounds maintenance in the amount of $400 per school building per week. brief. The contract provided by RJC Services is for weekly lawn care service for the district at 3 buildings and the football field. And you should have that, well, he had presented it, before, but this is the, contract that,
400.
we have,
Right, 400 a
Um,
week?
that was, sent to us and reviewed by our attorney. Are there any, so I would entertain a motion? Yes.
Before you do,
Yes.
is this the manual version?
They have been negotiating.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Yep.
I would entertain a motion at this time.
I cut the grass for 3. You could have asked citizens. Get some lawnmowers together. They would have helped you. You're making 50,000 cutting grass.
For one school?
One
District?
one district.
This is for 3 buildings.
Yes, for all three.
Yeah, keep adding up. It'll break down.
You have to speak up so everybody can hear you.
Is this 400 for all 3 buildings, or is it 400 per building? Per building? So it's 1,200. Every-
It said on the agenda if y'all would have read it.
Can we have, quiet in the audience? please?
No,
Thank
no.
you.
I got board members that ain't reading the agenda for.
All right.
If you all have any questions, ask them.
This is an increase from last year?
Who are the new elected officers? Who's the treasurer?
Actually, last year, I think it was $600, but we dropped it to $400.
It was not
And,
600.
grass cutting will only be probably going on up until, end of this month, because you won't be cutting during the winter time and that sort of thing, so, you know.
And they want
Pick back
that.
up those spring.
Just so
Comparable to what we're paying before.
this is less than you last year, and it is comparable to your surrounding districts. They're paying for the research that.
The chief of police back there.
Yeah, Attorney Birdsall, and she did send that to you. I will say that last year, we actually did not have a contract. This is one of those contracts that.
So why you lied?
NDOT, failed to execute.
Nothing, just making up stuff.
So he reduced what?
Can you please stop talking from the audience?
Right.
Thank you.
That's lying.
So last year, I do know that, and this is Mr. Guy, have been, doing the groundskeeping. And he did not have a contract, so we were just paying him, after he did the work and he submitted his invoice. So
What?
now, we have, an official contract, with him, or trying to establish a contract with him to continue to do the ground services. So what I did ask the attorneys to do was to, find out what was the comparison for other schools in the district and groundskeeping, you know, what is the going rate, for that, so that we would have an idea of what those, expenditures would be and what the cost would be. So that's what they did when they reviewed, the contract. So, if anybody has any other questions about it, you can ask the question so we can get it answered. And hopefully, you know, vote one way or another. Your vote is your vote.
Yes, that question.
Was that, did you, anybody else have any other questions? So I will entertain a motion at this time to approve the contract for RJ Services for grounds maintenance.
Then you still gotta get somebody for the
I'm
one.
going to make a motion that we do approve the services for our JC for well maintenance.
Second,
I'll say.
roll call.
He just did a call.
Kitchen Slater?
Yes.
Ross?
Agree with
Yes.
him.
Lewis?
Yes.
Bradford?
Yes.
Next on the agenda is to approve the 2023 MHSAA resolution for membership in the Michigan High School Athletic Association effective August 1st, 2023 to July 31st, 2024. The MHSAA resolution allows schools to participate in MHSAA meets and tournaments for the 23-24 school year. I'll entertain a motion at this time.
I'll make a motion to, I'll make a motion to approve the membership of MHSAA.
Second,
Y'all
Second.
microphones went on.
Nobody charge the mics no more? These people, so.
my microphone is out. So I'll try to talk loudly. There was a motion to approve the 23 MHSAA, membership for our high school athletic association. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Kitchen Slater?
Yes.
Ross? Yes. Lewis?
Yes.
Bradford?
Yes.
The next item on the agenda is to approve the renewal for the Success for All contract in the amount of $26,750 for MLK
Hold on.
and $22,150 for Edgewood. Thank you.
Ain't a minute another time.
These contracts are renewals of SFA and are needed for staff to access online resources for the program. These curriculum materials are utilized at the K-6 level for Edgewood and MLK. Costs are covered through the CLSD grant. I'll entertain a motion at this time.
Do you know what the CLSD grant is?
It's called, that's a grant that you fund, academics with, you know, and it's, I can't think of the acronyms, and we have so many. CLSD, it's called, Randy, can you help me out with the CLSD, what the acronym means?
Are y'all voting on some?
It's a literacy grant.
And so the cost is covered in full by that grant?
Yes. Comprehensive literacy state development. So comprehensive literacy state development. So I will entertain a motion at this time to approve the renewal of the Success for All contract. Does anyone have any questions?
I want to be reiterated with this particular piece of resources for grades K to 6. Enhance the curriculum.
It's a signed contract for that already. I wish they would make the money. I wish they would.
Are you good? Question? I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the renewal.
Is there a second? I will second, roll call.
Kitchen Swift?
Yes.
Ross, yes. Lewis?
Yes.
Bradford?
Yes.
Wow.
At this time, we will move on to our public comments. And I'll turn this portion of our, agenda over to Mr. Lewis.
All right, and I'm gonna need Mike. All right, so at this time, we are at public comment. We invite the public to come up and address the board. You have 3 minutes to address the board. Please bring me a comment card. First up, Mr. Thomas.
My first question is, how did you guys just vote for curriculum when we already have a signed contract for curriculum? That's clearly not under the contract that we signed June 27th. You just voted to sign for a curriculum that we voted against at a meeting when I was sitting up there. So how did you all just vote yes for that? Next question is, if it was a 2-2 split, how would that vote be split? How would it be handled if it was a 2-2 split? I didn't even listen. That's crazy. Okay. When was the meta contract amended for you all to do any of this with the curriculum? That was just from the last few comments that I had, but this is what I wrote. There's a lot of things I want to speak about, but the only focus is the kids right now. You all have amended the budget to make it appeal to your masters. Voted to bring in a curriculum that clearly doesn't work. We signed the meta contract on June 27th, 2023. It has yet to be honored. Just recently, an article came out about Muskegon High School adding esports. This is something that seemed to come about after we introduced the program we sought out to bring. Nonetheless, it is a game changer, and we are left watching again. Whatever the reason is for wanting to keep inmates at the bottom, I can't fathom. What I do know is all of you sitting up there will be held accountable for your lack of efforts to hold this administration accountable. I've asked multiple times about the credit cards being misused, doing a forensic audit. Doing a forensic audit on New Paradigm, which we have yet to do, the nepotism with the hiring this summer, and I have yet to receive any answers. The MAISD sat and watched our administration continuously break the law, as he's doing right now. Allowing our Director of Compliance, Mrs. Crockett, to conduct interviews and handle HR business she has no business sitting in. Keep in mind, she was hired as the Director of Compliance before the board could vote her in. You all remember that meeting?
Yep. Got on tape.
So how was she sitting in this position?
Come on now.
This comes after almost the entire staff said they wouldn't return to Edgewood if she was the principal. You all remember that?
Yep.
At a previous meeting, Mrs. Crockett brought us papers handed to her by the Vice President of the Board of Education, Sequoia Johnson Pierce. Clearly a violation. We asked who brought us those papers and no one seemed to remember, even our attorneys who got the papers handed to them. That meeting I stated if I get removed, you all know why.
Now we know why.
Now we know why. And that's everything is documented, so don't tell me I'm lying. Let's see. And now we are here with me illegally being removed, and our district is back searching for an ESP, which we had multiple apply. And I asked Randy to add this to the agenda at the last meeting I was on, and now it's all of a sudden on the agenda. Now you all have the town hall meetings after we said we're going to have a town hall meeting. That retreat that you just had, was it posted for the public to know about it?
Nope.
Did the public know about the retreat you just had? I need somebody to. Okay. What, did the public know about that retreat that you just had? Did the public know about the retreat that you just had Saturday? But was it posted for the public to know?
Nope.
So they just had they had a retreat with 2 boards, and they didn't let the public know that they had that meeting, which is illegal. So sooner or later, the Muskegon Heights Police is gonna have to do something, or Prosecutor DJ Hilson, who I've also met with already, but everybody's dragging their feet. Everybody's dragging their feet, so.
In due time.
We gonna get something done.
Lawyers and all.
This game that is being played won't last much longer. The attorneys have sat and collected checks prolonging everything with Meta. The attorneys have prolonged everything with Meta.
Amen.
Time is up for that too. Mrs. Birdsall has yet to turn in 1 invoice. I wonder what that bill will look like. I don't know how you all sleep at night, but if you all keep playing with these kids, the place you sleep won't be so comfortable in the future. And again, was that retreat posted for the public?
Nope.
And Eric, you know that I wasn't notified of that open meetings, that meeting, and there was a violation of the Open Meetings Act, and I have these text messages for you as well. You all know that the board removed me illegally. You haven't spoke up for me not one time. Mrs. Ross, you wrote a letter on my behalf. But anybody else, my cousin, hasn't said a word. After the meeting at the Board of Education, she went right to Chanel's mom's house.
Yep.
Just to let you all know. So all these games y'all playing, y'all gonna be able to sleep at night if y'all keep messing over these kids. Because that's the future of Muskegon Heights.
Amen.
And I vouch for you, Mr. Holmes. I'm the reason you really got that job. And what's crazy, y'all never won't respond to me no more. I tried to meet with everybody, y'all don't want to say that. But it's cool though, I promise you all gonna get what y'all deserve.
Amen.
Everybody sitting up there with their back tight.
I have a question for the attorneys because, and like I said last week to you, new board members, I hope you stay your 3 years because there's a trend going on with the district board. I have a question as to what power or what bylaws or policies that allow them to arbitrarily just take people off the board. And I can't say with or without reason because they won't give one. So what does it that they have that says that when something happens that they disagree with, or somebody does something they don't like, or whatever the case may be, that allows them to arbitrarily just remove board members? Because that is what truly is affecting the ability of our school to grow.
Yep.
Because we keep replacing people at whim, and they have to play catch up. Like these 3 new members are all new. Only person that's still here from the original board was the Fox in here house, as I said, is still here. And she has to enlighten them whatever was going on or catch them up. So what powers do they have to arbitrarily do?
Y'all never answer nobody.
Public school academies in the state of Michigan are controlled by.
What about the bylaws? Yeah, they don't never mention the bylaws. Ask about the bylaws, Ma.
It's not a bylaw issue, it is a statutory issue. In Michigan, public school academies operate under sections 501 through, I think it's 509 off the top of my head, maybe 510 of the revised school code. And in there are 2 important pieces. Number one, that they have to have what's called an appointment resolution. And they have to operate by that appointment resolution. They do have an appointment resolution after we notified them of, we challenged their use of that appointment resolution with Ms. Robinson. They changed it to allow them to remove without cause.
The lawsuit,
right?
but
The
he didn't
Board
took
of
it up.
Education changed which they're allowed to do, changed the appointment resolution. The appointment resolution also is the removal resolution that covers both. And the Board of Education changed the resolution to allow for removal without cause. In addition to that, there is a section of the revised school code,
Right.
the Public School Act, that prevents a decision to reconstitute the board from being challenged in court. Okay, we believed at the time that we raised Miss Antoinette Robinson's defense, we did believe that this was a removal of a single individual rather than a reconstitution of the board, and the court appears to have, it was a little bit of dicta, but appears to have not agreed with us and agreed with the Board of Education's attorney.
All that stuff, new paradigm.
And their argument. Okay, so we are constrained in what we can do because, as I said, the statute allows them to reconstitute the board, and we are not allowed to challenge that in court. And there's another section that says they have to abide by their resolution, the appointment resolution, and they made it less onerous to remove board members. So I can speak to the legal issue, the policy issues, the two different boards would have to speak to that. But from a legal standpoint, the avenues that we had previously that we attempted with Ms. Robinson.
We're not talking about Ms. Robinson.
Were foreclosed. They were closed off to us, and we don't believe that we have a viable option at this time. The Board of Education was, as the authorizer, it's called the authorizer in the statute, has great latitude to appoint board members and remove board members.
Everybody decides to do something that they don't agree with, they can be arbitrarily removed without cause. No reason whatsoever.
I will say,
Like our kids.
here's what I'll say, and
Constitution
I
don't
do
matter.
not mean this in a jovial manner. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending.
I gotta ask him.
Depending on your view of politics, votes have consequences, and elections have consequences, and the community chose to elect the Board of Education, and that gives them then elected power.
Yeah, I think
Do
this
what
is
it
an
has-
issue that
do
needs
what
to
they
be
have to do.
talked to with the Board of Ed. This board.
What?
did
What,
not
man? You
do-
should've let him get
did not
done.
remove-
Excuse me.
Or,
It's an attorney question. You are not the attorney.
But I'm the president of this board, so what I'm saying is that,
What you said is not mattering because you're not.
that's an issue.
Do you have done
in
law
my
degree?
opinion.
I will say that in this, she is correct, whether we
No,
like.
I know who the issue is for. I just asked the question because you're the attorney for this board and you have seen the transition
Yeah.
in the last 8 or 9 months, the 4 or 5 people that's been removed for whatever reason, because they changed it, so legally they blocked you from arguing or presenting the case to the courts because they changed it where it can't be argued. I understand that, and that's what I'm saying. You don't know what you're talking about. And don't know, but anyway, that was my question, because the board won't give me an answer, and that's why I asked you what the policy and procedure about it, because I knew you as an attorney would know that answer. And my hats off to you all for being here, and I pray that you all make it for 3 years.
So they don't have to follow the Constitution or the bylaws, right?
Mr. Robinson.
The Constitution or the bylaws don't have to be followed. Good, we got you.
Got you covered.
Got you.
Y'all keep digging, y'all, I'm telling you.
Keep digging that grave.
that was their rule.
It was what was called dicta, which means the court speaks, but it's not key to the decision, so it's not binding. However, when a court, when a judge speaks for the court and says this is, I don't think, I'm not sure you have a standing here because of this statute. That kind of foretells to us what he's going to decide if that becomes the issue.
I get that part. But the ruling at the BOE meeting, we talked about reconstituting the board when they read that information. So we should look forward to this board being finished up, being reconstituted, right? Everybody is gone, but one, when you're reconstituting, you're clearing
Everything out.
Clearing the house. So there's one more to go, right?
Yeah, I can't predict what the Board of Education will do.
It ain't about prediction.
All I am saying, and I say this with no disrespect to either board, I'm just telling you what the law is. The law
You should be fighting for this board.
has not turned in favor of those who want to challenge the Boards of Education's decision to remove the board member.
I get that. I get the challenge. I'm just making public comment to make the public aware that the BOE did say that they would reconstitute this entire board.
Right. And they did it. Y'all check into why?
Any other member of the public who wishes to address the board of directors?
Hello, board. My name is Darius Mitchell. I'm a resident of Muskegon Heights. I just have a question, so I don't want you to take this as me challenging you, but this is just a question in the interest of what you just said as far as what you don't have the ability to do. So I do understand legally that you can remove board members just like at-will employment, and so you don't have to give a reason for that. But given the fact that this community has already had an issue with transparency, and the attitude of the community is that the board does what it wants to do, doesn't include the community, which the board is here to serve the school and the community, in the interest of making a connection so that both parties can get on the same page. Would it not have made sense to be transparent if Mr. Fox had did anything to break the rules? Would it not, make sense to say those things so that for one, he can understand from that standpoint, and for two, that the community can have confidence that the board acted in favor. I'm not alleging that you did anything wrong because I don't have all the information. But if you already
This,
not,
No, that they can have that board. They can. No, they lying. They lying.
it wasn't your board.
the Board of
They can still speak up.
They haven't spoke up about it.
They haven't spoke up
They haven't
about it
asked
either.
about it. They haven't spoke up about
Please
it.
be quiet, please, order,
Okay,
please, thank you.
so given that, thank you. So does this board have any
You
autonomy
can go get
to
mine.
be able to influence them or have any say-so whatsoever?
Any say-so that the board could have would have to be based on personal relationships and appeals, without giving away any client confidentialities. I can say that members of this board attempted to influence the decision and perhaps were not as successful as they would have liked to be. The Board of Education has a lot of power as the authorizer. Okay? There were concerns when the law was passed years ago that you would have kind of these charter schools not answerable to anybody, not answerable to the community. Because this is a strange setup here. Normally, a charter school is separate from the Board of Education. Because of some financial issues that were here, the authorizer is the Board of Education. So the power that would normally sit in, for example, Central Michigan University is an authorizer for a lot of charter schools throughout the state. They are more hands-off, for example. Here, you only have one authorizer, one charter public school academy. And so there is a tighter connection between them, okay? Perhaps I don't want to speak for every charter school out there, but if you have one charter school to authorize versus 50, you're probably watching that one more than or influencing that one more than the 50. So the Board of Education is probably where you should ask those questions.
But from a state standpoint, if we wanted to challenge this in any way, what institution, what group would we direct our questions or our actions towards?
State board.
And I say this sitting here, I have not done complete research on this, okay, but I believe that the governor's office the governor is the only individual with the power to affect the Board of Education, which would then impact the Board of Directors. There are other agencies who can become involved, for instance, the Department of Treasury with the oversight on our budget, and the Michigan Department of Education with oversight on our special education program. They can be involved. The only one that can actually impact elected officials is the governor.
Well, I have those contacts, so that's who I'll send my information to. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I can't read your last name.
Just CB, that's it. I got one question and I'm gonna pass my,
You said that you was happy about the aviation program, right? Your homeboy you just passed off. Meta got the same programs. They got over 1,000 programs that you can look into, that you don't look into. It's crazy, like somebody else can tell y'all something, and y'all will go for it, but when we tell y'all this right there in front of y'all face, and all you gotta do is just look. Nobody says nothing. We fought to get you in, you playing the community. Like you was for the community, but I see what side you was on when you was with the radio station. I got my eye on you, that's all I want to say.
you won't know this too.
Is there any other member of the public who wishes?
Right there, don't worry, right there. I said, give my rest of my time to him.
This the last thing I'm gonna say, everything else will be handled in court. Because I don't know how you got 20+ years of educational law and you have all these opinions or I don't know and all this stuff, but anything else, you know for a fact. That's kind of crazy, Eric, when we ask you questions, you send us in circles and you talk for 2 minutes, but you never answer the question directly.
Never.
But since we're here, I promise you everything else will be handled in court after this, because y'all come on. I asked you about the meeting being posted 18 hours before you responded about that. Then I said, we had people going to the Board of Education every Monday or every day to see if there was going to be a meeting. There was nothing there Monday. And I just got the FOIA request when I requested the Board of Education's, when they posted the meeting for me getting removed. It was posted at 8:56 on Labor Day night. So how many people are really going to check that? How many people are really going to check that? How many people really going to check that?
Nah, right.
So they posted it Monday night, and I asked you about that. I said they also cut off public comment and went into a closed session. Your response was, that's a problem. Whole meeting was a problem. How am I on the agenda, but I didn't receive notification? Your response was, yep. Yep means you agree, right?
All right.
We do have to follow the Constitution, right? His response, yes.
Yep.
This is Eric Delaport, the attorney. We do have to follow the Constitution, right? Yes. I said, perfect. Last question. So that means I should have the opportunity to speak on the situation like trial. Yes, in my opinion, due process includes the right to speak on my behalf. And he said, I mean. So due process includes the right to speak on your behalf. This is Eric Delaport, the attorney. I knew what you meant. I would think I'd get a reason why I was removed. His response, yep. Do you have their bylaws by chance? Can I hire you outside of the PSA? Only if the PSA approves it like last time. I don't believe I have the BOE's, I'm assuming approval because he didn't respond. He didn't finish. Anybody you can recommend? He sent me a few lawyers. Those lawyers didn't reply, of course. I asked him, can you ask the BOE for the language they changed with the state to remove members? The signed version from the state? No reply. September 7th, I asked, can I file an injunction myself? Because I've been through multiple attorneys in Muskegon County. Nobody would take it. I said, can I file the injunction myself? No one is taking the cases that I called. Anyone can file for themselves. What do I have to do? I can't give you legal advice without the board's permission. But mind you, as of this day, I wasn't removed because the board just came back at 9/11 and graded their resolution, right?
Right.
So I was supposedly still on the board technically,
Still on the
right?
board.
But he wouldn't give me advice.
Right.
Can I get somebody else's 3 minutes? Thank you. So he wouldn't give me advice. I was technically still on the board at that time, right? Right. I'm trying to walk a fine line between helping out my friend and not violating my fiduciary duty to the board of directors. I'm trying my best. I will also know that you have an example from when we filed on Antoinette behalf that you could copy. He just told me to copy the one that was rejected that he just told you all about, right?
Right.
So why, if it was rejected and all this is going on, why tell me to copy that injunction?
Circles.
That complaint and motion to brief will give you a roadmap to the basics. Okay, I'll text her too. Thanks. My pleasure, he says. Next text, September 10th. Do you recall when I read my emails and text, when I said I wanted to read my emails and text to the public, and you said you prefer it happen in closed session? I was saying I was going to read their messages, and they said that I would rather happen in closed session so the public would know.
Right. So
this was the reason for saying that. I read something that said the meeting was about me. The only way they can go into a closed session is if I request it, per the Open Meetings Act. Am I lying? No comment on this. It's an Open Meetings Act. So if the meeting was about me, I was supposed to request that closed session. We called the Muskegon Heights Police and told them that they were in a closed session without me, and nothing happened. So we'll see what happens behind that. They went into a closed session about me, and when I asked to go in, they didn't let me. All the violations technically, I'm still a board member.
Right.
And then I sent him this. It says to consider, this is the Open Meetings Act from the website, to consider dismissal, suspension, or disciplining of, or to hear complaints or charges brought against, or to consider a periodic personnel evaluation of a public officer, employee, staff, or individual agent if the name, this is in bold, if the named individual requests a closed hearing. An individual requesting a closed hearing may rescind the request at any time in which the case matter at issue must be considered after the recession only opens back to the public. So I didn't request a closed session, and these guys still aren't fighting for me.
It's crazy.
So they know that the meeting wasn't legal, and they're still not fighting for me. So I just wanted to read that to let you guys know the games that the attorneys are playing, and I'm not sure about these new board members because JJ's name is JJ Lewis. We don't go by nicknames, right? It's supposed to say his full name up there.
Yes.
So you can see what he was
Who is
sworn in
JJ?
under. So let's just do our research in the Muskegon Heights community.
We got research on him too. James. He next.
Are there any other members of the public who wish to address the board at this time?
He next, don't worry.
Listen, I just wanted to take a moment to tell Dave, man, we love you. And we gotta keep coming to these, we gotta keep supporting them. I'm more of a Kanye type, okay? But that does not mean that what I tell you is not true. And that's just what I want y'all to know, because I don't want my frequency to be messed up when I come up here. So I really didn't have much to say, but I want to speak to y'all today, because they never speak back to me anyway. And they usually end up saying everything I said a couple weeks down the line anyway.
Yeah.
And we went to UPS and they said they do not know anyone being sworn in up there. JJ.
Yeah.
Is there any other member of the public who wishes to address the board at this time?
Is y'all nerdly?
Is there?
It's just a quick inquiry about action item C. I'm sorry, yeah. No, not C, I'm sorry, B. Can you kind of elaborate on the services that were provided within that month, July 1st to August 31st? It says temporary services. What services were provided?
If you write down your question, you still want to provide.
No, you I'm sorry, I did ask questions before last week. I had no reply about a week and a half. And I don't know what the traditional standard is on how long it would take to reply to something like this. Is there a deadline for that? On the response?
The question responded for the next,
So I can probably answer her question in 30 seconds.
Why can't the board answer?
Board of the MAIS.
I do know, excuse me, item B, I'm not going to, as I stated, we will provide a written response. If you write down your question, Mr. Holmes will provide you with a written.
Well, mine is that we done wrote 15 of them, we ain't got nothing.
And he will respond before the next board meeting.
We done have 15 board meetings. They keep lying.
So the attorney can't answer.
Is there any other member of the public?
Ain't that against the law for them not to respond to us?
Mr. Delacorte, could you elaborate?
Yeah, asking Miss Katie is against the law. Why they don't never respond?
Yeah, cause she gonna be doing what we like to know.
Okay. It's a scary thought of how long since the election and the Board of Education has been in power when there are a lot of violations as well as some members are illegitimate.
Amen.
Improper filing and documentation.
Amen.
Those areas. So we don't have to recognize that.
Amen.
And any decisions that they have made since those elections were held could be completely invalid. Any member on this board could technically be invalid and illegitimate as well.
Yep.
Know your power. We are gonna keep you posted, the whole community. We need more parents. We need parents and students to show up. They are the biggest representation of this school.
Amen.
They have the biggest authority. They have the power. All of you do. This entire community does. And if certain departments are not gonna take this seriously at every level with everything that has been given to them, and they're gonna turn a blind eye to it, we start making our demands.
You next.
We hold the power, we need to wield it, we will give you solutions.
Amen.
There have been a lot of problems listed out, but we have point blank solutions.
Yes.
And we will get them to you. Okay, we just need everyone to rally together to do so.
Thank you.
Is there any other member of the public who wishes to address the board at this time? Is there any other member of the public who wishes to address the board
Somebody
at
asked who
this
the
time?
treasurer and the new elected officers are. They haven't elected any new officers.
Thank you.
Who is the elected officials, the elected officers?
Titles.
Who do I ask?
The board president.
None of us are elected.
No, what are your, who's the treasurer, who's the vice president?
Yeah. I thought this was disrespectful, y'all understand the question I'm asking you, can you give me basic
Positions.
Maybe I'll ask you.
For this board? Are you asking for this board?
Yes.
Who the officers are?
Yes.
I'm the president, she's the secretary. We have not had elections for our vice president
So what?
and treasurer.
So you only got 2 officers?
So nobody handling the money.
Is there any other member of the public who wishes to address the board at this time?
Don't worry, JJ.
Any other member of the public who wishes to address the board at this time?
They getting nicknames to put on.
Thank you.
State government stuff. His name JJ.
You all, can we hear what you're talking about, please? If you're saying something, we gotta hear what you're
It
saying.
might be somewhere.
We have comments from the board of directors. I start with Ms. Brack.
Where you going? His name JJ. He's from California. No.
Good evening, my name is Ms. Bradford, I am a graduate of Muskegon Heights High. I love Heights, that's why I accepted this position. I'm sure there are a lot of people in the community that would love to be up here on the board. That's how it happens, you apply.
No.
That's
We
not how
applied.
it works.
I mean, if there's an opening.
No, that's not how it
That's
works.
not how it works. That's not how it works.
That just let us know she rubbing elbow. Oh, now you want to.
And, you know, like I said, as a member of the community and
So they can break the law.
Muskegon
You
Heights
said something's a
graduate,
problem.
you know, the reason I am here is because of my love for children. And, I will, consider each decision I make very carefully and vote my conscience. Not controlled by anyone, but the man above. And, I appreciate everybody that comes out and make their comments, but that lets us know that you care. And, it helps us know what the issues are. We have to know the issues in order to try and resolve some. So thank you, everyone, for your comment. And, just continue to pray for us. We can work through this together. It doesn't have to be contentious. Thank you.
Anybody with a heart, they get rid of.
I just have a quick comment. Can you guys see me? As always, I always appreciate listening to everything that you guys have to say, and I do have to agree with, Katie? Is it Katie? I'm sorry. Are you Katie?
I'm Katie.
Okay, so what I heard from her was that we need the parents here of children that are in our schools, and I 100% agree with that. And transportation is a huge issue in Muskegon County. I don't know if y'all know that, but transportation is a huge issue. So if you know a parent and you know that they're having issues, please reach out and bring them or try to figure out a solution to get them here so we can hear what their experience is with the school and maybe some of their concerns. Not that nobody in here is invalid, but I definitely want to hear and see a lot of parents because everything starts at home. That's it.
Thank you. Let's just get it done. That's my only comment. Our next meeting is a special board meeting of the record. It is Tuesday, September 26th. At that time, we'll be having our presentations from our ESPs that have submitted a proposal. At this time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
None said nothing about the kids, all about y'all. He think doing something for bleachers, is doing something for the kids.